Hello everyone, it's Ms. Thomas, and today we are looking at probability models. So a probability model is a mathematical representation of a random event, and the key there is a random event. There are going to be some situations that we come across that seem like, oh, figuring out the probability will be really easy, but when you think about them in the context of the world, they become a little bit more randomized, and we want to use that to figure out how can I understand how maybe something that seems like a theoretical probability on its surface would play out in reality. And to figure out how things play out in reality, we want to do simulations. And a simulation is a model of an event. So we can do all sorts of simulations using physical models, but we're going to go ahead and figure out how to do this with a calculator as well. So we're going to use the random number generator on the calculator, and I'm going to write out the steps for obtaining that here. So step 1 is hitting the math button. Next you want to go over to PRB for probability. Then you want to go down to number 5, which is rand_int for random integer. Then you're going to hit enter. And then you're going to see this rand_int, and the cursor is going to be in this spot. This spot you need to enter your lowest integer, then you need to enter a comma, then your high integer, your upper boundary, another comma, and then you need to state your n. How many random numbers do you want it to give you? So let's look at an example where we can do a random number simulator. In this example, in a class, you're given a 5-point multiple choice quiz each Friday. There are 4 possible answers for each question. If you only ever guess on this test, what will your average be over the 10-week period? So there are some things we need to figure out. So there's 5 questions on each quiz. There's 4 options per question. So let's assume that's an A, B, C, and D, like most multiple choices. And then we want to think about 10 weeks of quizzes. So that's kind of all the important stuff. So we want to just simulate one quiz at a time. And we want to determine which number 1 through 4 represents a right answer. So usually the appearance of a 1 means that problem is correct, and anything else means it's not correct. And then we'll repeat that 10 times. So now for the simulation. So we're going to go ahead and simulate one quiz. So that's 5 questions. And my options are 1 through 4. So my low is 1, my high is 4, because those are the number ranges. And then there's 5 questions. So I want a list of 5 numbers. So looking at that on the calculator, look at this guy. So we go to math, where all of our probability stuff is. We go over to probability. So it's tempting to choose this first one that's highlighted, but we don't want to choose the first one because it's not random integer. So we want rand_int for random integer number 5. And then that comes up on our screen. And so we want to do 1, and then a comma. Again, the comma key is right here. And then we want 4 and another comma. So we want the numbers 1 through 4. And we want a list of 5 long. Close up that parentheses and we just hit enter. So you can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is like having a wrong answer, because we said number 1 was going to be our right answer. So every time a 1 shows up, it means we got it randomly right. So wrong, wrong, right, wrong, right. Right? So this seems reasonable for just randomly guessing on a multiple choice. So we're going to record that value. So we would say for test 1 or quiz 1, we got the values 4, 4, 1, 2, 1. 1 and 1 means they were correct, so that's like getting a 2 out of 5, which is a 40%. Not so great. So we're going to do a generator for week 2, quiz 2. So we just go back, math, go down to random integer, and it's the same parameters. We want 1 to be our lowest random integer, 4 to be our highest random integer, and the quiz is still 5 questions long. So we hit enter. This time we get 4, 1, 1, 3, 4. So that means we got 2 again. Okay, so week 3. We go ahead and we run the random number generator again. Our values this week are 4, 2, 2, 1, 1. Again, we're getting 2 right out of the 5 questions. We go to quiz 3, or we keep going from there. So for week 4, we get 3, 1, 2, 2, 4. Remember, a 1 represents what we're looking for, which is a right answer. So this time we only get a 10% on our quiz. Week 5, we actually get a 30% on our quiz. I'm sorry, a 60% on our quiz, 3 out of 5. Week 6, we have a 10%. Week 7, we have a 40%. And weeks 9 and 10, we have 60% each. So then to find our average after the 10 weeks, we're just going to add up all of our simulations and divide by 10. Over the 10 quizzes. So my X bar is going to be, no one's surprised in this situation, a 0.4. So our average will be a 40%. Your average, so building on that, we want to look at what the probability is that you pass a quiz in 10 weeks of randomly guessing. So if we think about our subset from before, I'm just going to make a frequency table. So your score and the frequency f. So we had 0.1 2 times, we had 0.4 5 times, and 0.6 3 times. So if we assume that passing means a score of a 0.6, then the probability of passing is going to be 3 out of 10. So another idea that we want to cover is the fair game and decision idea. So it's as obvious as it seems. So in it, all participants have an equal chance. So this is kind of like random sampling. So an example would be two siblings are trying to decide who has to mow the lawn this weekend. They decide to race, and the winner does not have to mow the lawn. It is a result of fair decision, and explain. And anybody who has siblings, either you're the older sibling or you have an older sibling, knows older siblings always come up with ridiculous decision-making things like this. And it's totally not fair because presumably one of these siblings is older, they're bigger. Usually if they're bigger, they're faster. So they have unequal chances. Even though the younger or slower sibling would definitely race their butt off to try to avoid mowing the lawn. A better way to do it, a fair alternative, is that they just draw names. So drawing names, random number generators, those things will always be the most fair way to do something. So sometimes you're going to want to determine expected outcomes using simulations. So an example of this would be, suppose a manufacturer is giving away 6 different prizes in a box of cereal. The prizes are randomly and equally distributed in the cereal boxes. Describe and conduct a simulation to predict how many boxes of cereal you would need to buy to get all 6 prizes. So obviously, for each box you have a 1 in 6 chance of getting the prize because they're randomly and equally distributed. But as we all know, you can buy 6 boxes and not end up with 6 unique prizes. So this is where simulations come in. So there's a couple different ways you could conduct a simulation to predict how many boxes of cereal you would need to buy to get all 6 prizes. You could use a random number generator. To simulate. So, and if you did a random number generator, you would do rand int. 1 would be your low, 6 would be your high, but you only want to do one simulation at a time because it's like buying a box of cereal at a time. You could also just use a good old-fashioned die, 1 through 6, roll and keep track. So I'm going to show you what I mean by keeping track. So I'm just going to go the traditional route and roll a die. So all of my total outcomes would be 1 through 6. And each roll of the die is going to simulate a box. So I just rolled a 2, so I'm going to keep a tally. So I got prize number 2. Roll it again, it came up a 6. Roll it again, it came up a 4. Came up a 6 again. I have the same toy twice now. Came up a 2 again. Came up a 5. Came up another 5. Came up a third 5. I have a lot of this toy. Came up a 1. I just need a 3. Came up a 6. Came up a 1. A 1. Another 1. So you can see how this does simulate real life because you know you've all been in that place where you just need that last piece and it just will not come. So just rewriting these instead of tally marks as their number of frequency. So this helps us figure out, well, what's the expected number of rolls? So that is 17 rolls that we needed in order to figure out how long it would take to get those prizes in the cereal boxes. So that's 17 boxes for 6 toys. So that was just one simulation, and we found out 17 boxes of cereal. The more statistically reliable way to do these simulations would be do the simulation over and over again, and then you are able to average all of these outcomes to determine the expected number of boxes you would have to buy on average in order to obtain all 6 toys.